Every morning, before the sun climbs up the base of the San Gabriel Mountains, 1,500 horsemen hustle and fuss over 1,800 of the country's finest thoroughbreds, prepping them for their morning training and, for some, that afternoon's races. 78 years ago, Santa Anita was born out of man's grand desire to make history. Jake Chalfin is also getting ready for the afternoon races at Santa Anita. Although it's his first day at this storied racetrack in sunny Southern California, he is no stranger to the sound of thundering hooves.
I was about 7 when I got into riding. Grew up fox hunting and showing. Eventing was kind of my passion. I was an amateur steeplechase jockey, so a typical day for me would be get to the barn around 6, ride 2 to 3 sets, then I'd go to work. And then in the evenings, I'd freelance breaking and training, show horses. So I had horses at the beginning and end of every day and raced for about 4.5 years.
On September 18, 2010, Jake was severely injured when he was thrown from his horse during a steeplechase race in Virginia.
The race started fine, came around the turn down to the first hurdle, kind of popped it a little bit, but then she threw her head in the air and locked her jaw and lugged out to the left, missing the second hurdle. And then she put her head straight up in the air and just bolted. And at the end of the stretch, the track made a hard right turn. The trailers were parked on the outside of the rail, and at that point, I'm pretty sure she was thinking about going home. But she did hit the brakes, and she stopped on a dime, and I went flying right over her head like Superman into a fence post. Next thing I know, I'm laying on the ground. Hips and feet were kind of cocked to the wrong angle, and I couldn't do anything about it, and I instantly knew that I was screwed. I had broken about 13 vertebrae. So from about C3, which is right about behind your ear, all the way down to T11, which is a couple inches above your belly button. Every time I made a transition from inpatient to outpatient and then from outpatient to home, it was pretty jarring and dramatic and scary. And the day I moved home into my house, they were fox hunting right down my road. It was the last thing I needed to see at that moment. And it was devastating, but I also kind of thought it was kind of funny. Coming to Santa Anita was a big next step in my new life and my recovery process. It was the first time I've traveled on a plane since my accident. This trip was significant on multiple levels for me. I got to see Santa Anita and have a great day at the races, but it also expanded my life again, you know, in ways that I can take everywhere else. I live in a horsey area, so I've sort of got daily exposure to it. I see people hacking out past my house, and every day I'm following horses and jockeys, you know, in their performances and where they're going. I've traveled around the world because of horses, and they've given me as much as you could say they've taken away, but they really haven't taken, I don't see it as they've taken anything away from me. So I don't blame the horse. I love horses, you know, like nothing else. If it weren't for a good horse, a woman would be the sweetest thing in the world. I can live with bad luck as long as, you know, I took care of everything I was supposed to on my end. And that's how I cope and deal with it. You know, you just got to live life at the end of the day. I was doing what I loved.